The emergency lights in the Galactic Council chamber pulsed red. 12 different species sat in the circular room, each one behind their own desk that floated in the air. The room was silent except for the quiet hum of translation devices. Ambassador Chen Wei stood in the center. She was a small woman with gray hair tied back tight. Her left arm was made of titanium metal that gleamed under the lights. She had lost her real arm during the Mars conflict 20 years ago. Now she stood perfectly still, waiting for permission to speak. High Counselor Vexnar finally waved one of his 4 arms. He was a Torvan, tall and covered in dark purple scales. His species controlled a quarter of the galaxy's trade routes. "You may proceed, human," he said. His voice came through the translator as bored and annoyed. Chen tapped her wrist device. A hologram appeared above her head. It showed 2 ships. The 7th Fleet Diplomatic Convoy departed Earth 6 months ago with 412 people. Last contact was in Sector 45 near Torvan Space. They were supposed to arrive at the Kepler station 3 months ago. She swiped her hand. Another image appeared. The 9th Research Mission. 435 scientists studying dark matter in the Kepler void. Last contact 2 weeks ago. "Space is dangerous," said a counselor from the Vraxi species. She had tentacles instead of arms and spoke through a water-filled helmet. "Ships disappear. Equipment fails. Your species is new to deep space travel. Perhaps your technology is not reliable." Chen's jaw tightened, but her voice stayed calm. "Our ships have backup systems for the backup systems. Each vessel sends automated pulses every 6 hours. They all stopped at the same time. No distress signals, no emergency beacons, no debris. 847 humans are missing." Vexnar leaned back in his floating chair. "The galaxy is vast, Ambassador. We cannot be expected to track every vessel that passes through space. Your people likely experienced technical failures. Perhaps they entered a gravitational anomaly." "Both missions?" Chen asked. "In different sectors? Within 3 weeks of each other?" "Coincidence happens," Vexnar said with a dismissive wave. Chen pulled up more data. "I have reviewed the Council archives. 43 disappearances in the past decade. All ships from younger species. All in regions controlled or patrolled by the Torvan hegemony." She paused. "That is not coincidence. That is a pattern." The room erupted in voices. Several counselors spoke at once through their translators. The Vraxi representative demanded Chen provide proof. A bird-like species called the Chirathi whistled their disagreement with the accusation. Vexnar stood up. His full height was almost 3 meters tall. "How dare you accuse the Torvan hegemony of such crimes? We have been members of this council for 3,000 years. Your species has been here for 67 years. You are children playing at politics." Chen did not move. "Then allow our search and rescue teams into those sectors. Let us look for our people. If you have nothing to hide, there should be no problem. Torvan space is sovereign territory," Vexnar said coldly. "We do not allow foreign military vessels to enter without permission. And we do not give permission to those who insult us." "This is not a military operation," Chen said. "These are rescue ships. Medical personnel. Scientists with scanning equipment. We just want to find our people." "Denied," Vexnar said. He looked around at the other counselors. "Does anyone here believe we should allow armed human vessels into our territory, based on paranoid accusations?" No one spoke up. The silence told Chen everything she needed to know. She took a slow breath. "I represent Earth and all of humanity. We have asked politely. We have followed your protocols. We have presented evidence. You refuse to help. You refuse to allow us to help ourselves." She looked directly at Vexnar. "Earth requires the return of its citizens within 30 standard cycles. This is not a request. This is not a negotiation. This is a statement of fact." Vexnar laughed. It was a harsh barking sound. Several other counselors joined him. "Or what, little human? Will you cry to us again? Will you file more reports that no one reads?" Chen's expression did not change. "Earth expects its people returned within 30 standard cycles," she repeated. "Unharmed. And if we do not?" Vexnar asked, still laughing. "What will your little world do? You have been in space for barely a century. The Torvan hegemony has 300 warships. Your entire military could not scratch our shields." Chen was quiet for a moment. Then she said very softly, "You have 30 cycles." She tapped her wrist device and her hologram vanished. Before anyone could respond, Chen's image flickered. She was not physically in the chamber. She had been broadcasting from Earth all along. Her hologram faded away completely. The council chamber fell silent again. Then the laughter started once more. "Humans," said the Vraxi counselor, so emotional, so proud. "They think they matter." "Let them cry," Vexenar said. He sat back down. "What can one small planet do? They have not even colonized their own solar system fully. They are nothing." But as the session ended and the counselors left, Vexenar's assistant approached him. She was a younger Torvin with bright green scales. "High Counselor, should we be concerned?" The human seemed certain. Vexenar waved her away. "Humans are always certain about something. It is their weakness. They feel too much and think too little." He started walking toward his private ship. "Increase patrols near the border sectors, just as a precaution, and make sure the special facility in the Draconis Nebula is secure." "The one with the specimens?" his assistant asked quietly. "That one," Vexenar confirmed. "The human genetic code is remarkably interesting. Their healing ability, their adaptability, their brain plasticity. The researchers say they have never seen anything like it. A few hundred test subjects will help us understand how to replicate it. And if Earth discovers this?" Vexenar stopped walking and looked at her. "They will not. And even if they did, what could they do? They are one world. We are an empire spanning 40 star systems." He continued walking. "Forget about the humans. They will make noise for a while. Then they will accept their loss and move on. This is how the galaxy works. The strong take what they need. The weak learn to accept it." Back on Earth, in the command center beneath Luna's surface, Admiral Sarah Kovalenko watched the council broadcast end. She was a tall woman with sharp features and eyes that had seen too many battles. Around her, dozens of officers worked at glowing screens. "Well?" asked General Marcus Zhang. He stood beside her, arms crossed. "They refused," Kovalenko said. "As expected. Do we proceed with Longshot?" Zhang asked. Kovalenko nodded slowly. "Send the signal. Begin the countdown. And wake up the Ghost Fleet." She looked at the star map on the main screen. 30 days. They have 30 days to fix their mistake. "And if they don't?" Zhang asked. Kovalenko's expression was cold. "Then they learn why Earth doesn't give second warnings." The countdown appeared everywhere at once. On every screen in Torvin space, from the smallest personal device to the massive displays in city centers, numbers glowed in bright red. 29 days, 23 hours, 17 minutes. The numbers ticked down second by second. Vexenar was eating his morning meal when his assistant burst into his private quarters. "Hi, Counselor! We have a situation." He looked up, annoyed. "What situation?" She held up her datapad. The countdown was there, filling the screen. "This appeared 30 minutes ago. Every device, every system, every network in Torvin space. We cannot remove it. Our best programmers have tried everything." Vexenar grabbed the pad. He tried to close the display. Nothing happened. He tried to shut down the device. The countdown remained, hovering above the dark screen like a ghost. "How is this possible?" "We do not know," his assistant said. Her scales had turned pale with fear. "It is embedded at the quantum level. Whoever did this knows our systems better than we do." Within hours, panic spread across the Torvin hegemony. People could not use their devices without seeing the countdown. Businesses could not operate. Ships could not navigate properly. The countdown was always there, always visible, always ticking down. The Galactic Council called another emergency session. This time, Vexenar was the one asking for help. "This is an act of war," he shouted. His image filled the council chamber. He was broadcasting from his flagship. "Earth has infected our entire network with this virus. They must remove it immediately." Ambassador Chen appeared again, calm as before. "I am sorry, High Counselor, but Earth has done nothing. Perhaps your systems are malfunctioning. You did say space technology can be unreliable." "Do not mock me, human." Vexenar's face turned darker purple. "We know this is your doing." "Can you prove it?" Chen asked. "Have your experts traced the source?" Vexenar fell silent. His programmers had tried. The countdown had no source. It simply existed in every system simultaneously, as if it had always been there. "Remove it," he finally said. "Whatever you want, we can negotiate." "I want nothing," Chen said. "Earth wants its 847 citizens returned, alive and unharmed. You have 29 days. We do not have your people," Vexenar insisted. "Then you have nothing to worry about," Chen replied. Her hologram vanished again. The Vraxi counselor spoke up. "This is unacceptable behavior from Earth. They must be punished for this digital terrorism. But the Chirathi representative, who rarely spoke, chirped softly. Her translator converted it to words. Perhaps Earth is not bluffing. Perhaps we should investigate the human claims more seriously. They are bluffing, Vexinar said, but his voice was less certain now. They must be. 3 days later, reports came in from Torvan border stations. Ships had been detected. Strange ships, dark and angular, that did not match any known design. They moved through space without leaving heat signatures. They appeared and disappeared from sensors like shadows. How many? Vexinar demanded. We count at least 30, his military commander reported. But they are difficult to track. There may be more. What are they doing? Nothing. They are just watching, staying at the edge of our territory. Vexinar stared at the tactical display. The countdown now showed 26 days. He made a decision. Mobilize the Armada. All 300 ships. I want a wall of steel between those human ghosts and our core worlds. The Torvan Armada was impressive. 300 warships, each one twice the size of Earth's largest vessels. They gathered at the border, weapons charged, shields at maximum. The commanders were confident. If the humans came, they would be destroyed. But the human ships did not advance. They simply waited. On Earth, in the Luna Command Center, Admiral Kovalenko watched the Torvan deployment with satisfaction. They took the bait, she said. All 300 ships in one location, General Zhang agreed. Their core worlds are barely defended now. Do not underestimate them, Kovalenko warned. 300 ships is still 300 ships. Our Ghost Fleet has stealth and speed, but they have numbers and firepower. A young officer approached. Admiral, we have confirmation. The reconnaissance teams have located the facility. Kovalenko turned sharply. Where? Draconis Nebula, hidden inside an asteroid base. We detected life signs matching human biosignatures. 813 individuals. Not 847, Zhang noted quietly. Kovalenko closed her eyes briefly. 34 dead. 34 people who had trusted Earth to keep them safe. What is the facility's purpose? Genetic research, the officer said, his voice disgusted. They have been harvesting tissue samples, testing pain thresholds, studying human regenerative capabilities. The room went silent. Everyone understood what that meant. The Torvan were not just holding prisoners. They were experimenting on them. Send the data to Ambassador Chen, Kovalenko ordered. She needs to present this to the Council. And the Ghost Fleet? Zhang asked. Move them into position. Captain Reeves and his team will perform the extraction. She looked at the countdown on her own display. 24 days. But first, we demonstrate what happens when you ignore Earth's warnings. 2 days later, 3 Torvan border stations experienced simultaneous system failures. Life support shut down. Weapons went offline. Engines stopped working. The stations went completely dark. Panic filled the stations. Thousands of Torvan crew members prepared for death in the cold vacuum of space. But then something strange happened. Emergency pods arrived. Not Torvan pods, human pods. They latched onto the stations and extended air tubes. Lights flickered on inside the stations, but different lights. Human lights. A message played on every screen in simple galactic common. Your government has abandoned you. Earth has not. Evacuate immediately. The Torvan crews had no choice. They evacuated into the human rescue pods. Once everyone was safe aboard the human ships, the crews found care packages waiting. Food, water, medical supplies, and blankets. There was also a note with each package. This is a demonstration. We could have let you die. We chose not to. Your leaders should learn from this. You have 22 days. The rescued Torvan were dropped off at the nearest hegemony colony unharmed. The 3 stations remained dead in space, floating monuments to Earth's capabilities. Vexinar stared at the reports in disbelief. They bypassed our shields. They shut down our most advanced stations. And they saved our people? It appears so, High Counselor, his assistant said. Why? Vexinar asked. Why save them? Perhaps to make a point, she said quietly. They can kill us whenever they want. They choose not to. Vexinar felt something he had not felt in decades. Fear. Real, cold fear. Find those human prisoners, he ordered. Move them immediately. Different location. Somewhere even Earth cannot find them. High Counselor, perhaps we should consider... No, Vexinar shouted. We do not negotiate with terrorists. We are the Torvan hegemony. We do not bow to threats from a single planet. But even as he said it, he watched the countdown tick down. 22 days, 5 hours, 33 minutes. Somewhere in deep space, Captain Marcus Reeves stood on the bridge of the HSCS Retribution. Around him, his crew worked in silence. They were all veterans, all volunteers for the Ghost Fleet program. They wore black uniforms with no insignia. If they died, Earth would deny they ever existed, Captain, his first officer said. We have the new coordinates. The Torvin are moving the prisoners. Reeves smiled coldly. Let them. We know where they are going before they get there. He looked at his own countdown display. We have 22 days. That is 21 days and 23 hours more than we need. His crew did not cheer. They simply nodded and returned to work. They had a mission. 813 humans were waiting to come home, and Captain Reeves had never failed a mission yet. The countdown continued. The galaxy watched, and Earth waited with the patience of a predator that already knew how the hunt would end. 7 days remained on the countdown when the Galactic Council realized they had made a terrible mistake. The Torvin Armada sat at the border like a massive wall of metal and weapons. 300 warships, the pride of the hegemony, all pointing toward empty space. Their sensors swept constantly, looking for the human fleet everyone knew was coming, but the sensors showed nothing. No fleet, no attack force. Just those 30 ghost ships at the edge of detection, watching and waiting. Admiral Ketherall commanded the Armada from his flagship. He was an old Torvin warrior with scars covering his scales. He had fought in a dozen wars and won them all. Where are they? He muttered, staring at the tactical display. They must attack soon. They have only 7 days. His sensor officer suddenly stiffened. Admiral. Multiple contacts. 3 border stations reporting. The officer's voice died. Reporting what? Ketherall demanded. They are not reporting anymore, sir. They are just gone. All systems dead. 3 more stations, all at the same time. Just like before. But this time, no rescue pods came. The stations simply died, and their crews were left floating in emergency suits waiting for pickup. Another message broadcast across Torvin space. This is the final demonstration. We have been gentle. We have been patient. Return what you have stolen. You have 7 days. Vexnar called for an emergency council session. This time even he looked worried. His scales had lost their shine and his forearms trembled slightly. We must negotiate, said the Chirathi representative. Earth has shown they can strike anywhere. We should listen to their demands. It sets a dangerous precedent, the Vraxi counselor argued. If we bow to threats, every species will think they can threaten the council. Ambassador Chen attended this session in person. She sat in Earth's designated seat, her titanium arm resting on the desk. She did not speak. She simply waited. Finally, the council arbiter, an ancient being made of crystallized energy, addressed her. Ambassador Chen, Earth has demonstrated significant military capability. The council wishes to mediate this dispute. What are your terms? Chen stood slowly. Earth has one term. Return our people, alive, unharmed. That is all we have ever asked. Vexnar stood as well. We do not have your people. How many times must I say this? Chen pulled out a small device and placed it on her desk. A hologram appeared, showing a detailed scan of an asteroid base in the Draconis Nebula. This facility, built 5 years ago, registered as a mining operation. Actual purpose, genetic research. She highlighted several sections. 813 human biosignatures detected. Heart rates, brainwaves, DNA markers, all matching our missing crew members. The council chamber went silent. The evidence was undeniable. How did you... Vexnar started, then stopped. It did not matter how Earth knew. They knew. You took our people. Chen continued, her voice hard. You experimented on them. You hurt them. And you lied to us. She looked around at all the counselors. 34 are already dead. 34 humans who will never go home. Their families will never know what happened to them. She turned back to Vexnar. You have 7 days to return the rest. After that, Earth stops being patient. You cannot threaten us, Vexnar shouted. We have 300 warships. What do you have? A few stealth ships that can disable stations? That is nothing compared to our military might. Chen smiled. It was not a warm smile. You are correct. Your armada is very impressive. 300 ships all gathered at your border. I have a question, High Counselor. Where is your fleet right now? At the border, protecting our worlds from your attack, Vexnar said proudly. Exactly, Chen said. At the border. 3 star systems away from your core worlds, and while they sit there watching for an attack that will not come from that direction, your home worlds are barely defended. Vexnar's face changed. Understanding and horror mixed together. Chen tapped her device again. A new hologram appeared. It showed 50 objects moving through space at incredible speed. These are relativistic missiles. Each one is traveling at 90% of light speed. At that velocity, they carry kinetic energy equal to a small star. She highlighted their trajectories. They are currently aimed at 50 military targets across Torvan space. Industrial shipyards, command centers, weapons manufacturing facilities. The council erupted in shocked voices. Even Vexnar seemed unable to speak. These missiles were launched 5 days ago. Chen continued calmly. They cannot be stopped. At their speed, any interceptor would be vaporized before it could get close. Your shields will not stop them. Nothing will stop them, she paused. They will impact in 7 days, 6 hours. You are bluffing, Vexnar whispered. You would not commit such an act of war. It is not an act of war, Chen corrected. It is justice. You started this when you took our people. We are simply finishing it. She looked at the countdown still visible on every screen. 7 days. Return our people, and the missiles will be diverted to uninhabited areas. Refuse and they will complete their mission. This is madness, the Vraxi counselor shouted. You would destroy 50 military installations? Kill millions of Torvan? The targets are carefully chosen, Chen said. Facilities that operate at minimal staffing during off hours. If they evacuate now, casualties will be minimal, but the infrastructure will be destroyed. The Torvan military machine will be set back 50 years. She sat down. Or they can simply return our people. The choice is theirs. Vexnar looked around desperately. Council, you must stop this. Declare Earth in violation of what? The Chirathi representative interrupted. You took their people first. You experimented on them. You lied to this council. Earth is not the criminal here. We need to vote, the Vraxi counselor said. Economic sanctions against Earth, travel restrictions. Something to show we do not accept this behavior. Vote all you want, Chen said quietly. The missiles are already in flight. Only the Torvan can stop them now by doing the right thing. The session ended in chaos. Counselors argued with each other. Some demanded action against Earth. Others called for Vexnar's arrest. The ancient arbiter simply watched, saying nothing. Vexnar returned to his flagship in a daze. His assistant met him at the docking bay. Orders, High Counselor? He stared at the countdown. 7 days. Can we intercept the missiles? Our best scientists say no. The relative velocity makes it impossible. Can we evacuate the targeted facilities? It would cause massive panic. And it would be an admission that Earth is telling the truth. Vexnar walked to his command center and collapsed into his chair. He had ruled the Torvan hegemony for 30 years. He had never lost a confrontation. Never backed down. Never shown weakness. What about the prisoners? His assistant asked quietly. Move them again. Somewhere deeper. Somewhere Earth cannot possibly find. High Counselor, perhaps we should— No! He slammed his fist on the armrest. We are the Torvan. We do not surrender. We do not negotiate with inferior species. He pointed at the tactical display showing the locations of the human ghost ships. We have 300 warships. They have 30 scouts. The numbers are on our side, but the missiles are a bluff. They must be. No species would actually fire such weapons. The Council would never allow it. Earth would be expelled, sanctioned, destroyed. He nodded to himself. Yes, it is a bluff. It must be. His assistant said nothing. She simply looked at the countdown and wondered if the High Counselor was right, or if Earth had truly meant every word. On board the HSCS Retribution, Captain Reeves received new orders. The prisoners were being moved again to a facility deep in Torvan space. It did not matter. His team had been tracking them the whole time. Prepare for insertion, he told his crew. We go in 72 hours. Whether the missiles are diverted or not, we are bringing our people home. His first officer nodded. And if the Torvan resist? Reeves' expression was cold. Then they learn why you should never take a human prisoner. We do not leave our people behind, ever. 24 hours remained when Vexnar made his final decision. Destroy the facility, he told his military commander. Kill all the prisoners. If we cannot have them, neither can Earth. Commander Srelak stared at the High Counselor. He was a career military officer with 40 years of service. He had followed orders his entire life, but this order made his scales crawl. High Counselor, those are 800 living beings, many of them scientists and diplomats. This would be mass murder. This would be strategy, Vexnar corrected. Earth has backed us into a corner. If we release the prisoners, we look weak. If we keep them, the missiles hit. But if the prisoners die, Earth has no reason to continue their attack. They will be angry, but they will have no leverage. Sir, I cannot. That is an order, Commander. Vexnar's voice echoed through the command center. Send the kill order to the facility immediately. Srelak looked around at the other officers. Some looked away. Others met his eyes with the same disgust he felt. Slowly, he reached for his sidearm and pointed it at Vexnar. No. The command center froze. Guards raised their weapons, unsure who to point them at. Commander, you are committing treason, Vexnar said quietly. Perhaps, Srelak replied. But I will not commit genocide. He raised his voice. Any officer who agrees with me, stand with me now. For a moment, no one moved. Then a young lieutenant stood. Then another officer. Then another. Within seconds, half the command center was standing. Weapons drawn, facing the other half. The Torvan military split right down the middle. While civil war erupted in the command center, the HSCS Retribution approached the facility in the Draconis Nebula. Captain Reeves stood on his bridge, watching the tactical display. The facility was a converted asteroid, hollowed out and filled with laboratories and prison cells. It had defensive shields and automated weapons, but nothing his team could not handle. Sir, we are detecting energy spikes inside the facility, his sensor officer reported. They are warming up their self-destruct system. Time to detonation? Unknown. Could be minutes, could be hours. Reeves did not hesitate. Launch all assault pods. We go now. 20 small pods shot from the Retribution, too fast for the facility's weapons to track. They attached to the asteroid's surface and deployed nano-disruptors. The devices phased through the shields like they were not there, a technology Earth had developed in secret for exactly this kind of mission. Reeves led the first team through the breach. His soldiers wore black armor with no markings. They moved through the corridors with practiced efficiency, their weapons set to stun. Guards fell before they could raise their weapons. Doors opened before anyone could lock them. Earth's hackers had already infiltrated the facility's systems. Teams 2 and 3 secure the detention levels, Reeves ordered. Team 4 shut down that self-destruct. Everyone else with me. They found the first prisoners in Laboratory Section C, humans strapped to medical tables covered in monitoring equipment and surgical scars. Some were awake. Others were sedated. All of them looked like they had been through hell. A young woman with blonde hair looked up at Reeves with disbelieving eyes. You are real? You're actually here? Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka, Reeves read from his scanner. 7th Fleet Navigation Officer. Yes, Lieutenant, we are really here, and we are taking you home. Tears ran down her face. They said no one was coming. They said Earth had forgotten about us. Earth never forgets, Reeves said firmly. He cut her restraints with a plasma torch. Can you walk? I think so. She stood shakily. Around the room, his soldiers were freeing other prisoners. There are more of us. 813, Reeves confirmed. We know. We are getting everyone. They moved through the facility like a storm. Every guard was incapacitated with sonic weapons that knocked them unconscious but caused no permanent harm. Every door was breached. Every prisoner was freed. The Torvan researchers who tried to fight were stunned. Those who surrendered were left tied up but unharmed. Reeves found the facility commander in his office trying to manually activate the self-destruct. The captain's plasma pistol turned the control panel into slag. You are Commander Thexwell, Reeves said. It was not a question. You ran this facility for 3 years. You performed experiments on 847 humans. 34 of them died. The Torvan commander trembled. I was following orders. The High Counselor commanded. I do not care, Reeves interrupted. Where are the bodies? The ones who died? Cremated. Their ashes were disposed of. Reeves felt rage burn in his chest, but his voice stayed calm. You will come with us. You will stand trial, and you will answer for what you did. In the detention levels, his teams were loading prisoners into the assault pods. Some could walk, others had to be carried. All of them were in various states of injury and trauma. Lieutenant Tanaka stayed close to Reeves.
Captain, they were not just studying us.
They were harvesting our genes, our tissue. They said humans have regenerative capabilities other species lack. They wanted to understand why we heal faster, why our brains adapt so quickly. Did they succeed? Reeves asked. No, Tanaka said with grim satisfaction. Turns out you cannot just copy human genetics. They tried for 3 years and got nowhere. All they did was hurt us. She paused. Some of them enjoyed it. The hurting part, Reeves's jaw tightened. Those ones will face special charges. The evacuation took 40 minutes. Every human was accounted for except the 34 who died. Reeves ordered his teams to download every file from the facility's database. Evidence of everything that Torvin had done. As the last assault pod left, charges detonated throughout the facility. Not large enough to destroy the asteroid, but enough to render every laboratory and prison cell useless. The message was clear. This place would never hurt anyone again. Back on board the Retribution, medics worked frantically to treat the freed prisoners. Most needed immediate care. Some had infections from surgical procedures. Others were malnourished and dehydrated. All of them were traumatized. Captain, his communications officer called. We are receiving a broadcast from Torvin space. Multiple sources. It is going out on all channels. Reeves listened to the transmission. Commander Srelak's voice filled the bridge. This is Commander Srelak of the Torvin Defense Fleet. High Counselor Vexnar has been removed from command and placed under arrest. The Torvin military stands down. We are broadcasting the facility coordinates and access codes to Earth forces. All human prisoners will be released immediately. This is our formal surrender. The bridge crew looked at their captain. Reeves allowed himself a small smile. Broadcast our situation. Tell them the prisoners are already secured. We are coming home. On Earth, the broadcast played for the entire planet. Images from the facility, carefully edited to protect the victim's privacy, showed the world what had been done. The surgical scars, the laboratory tables, the cells. People watched in horror and rage. Admiral Kovalenko stood in the Luna Command Center watching the countdown reach its final hours. The relativistic missiles were still on course. 50 weapons, each capable of massive destruction. Ambassador Chen stood beside her. Orders, Admiral? Kovalenko took a breath. Send the diversion codes. Redirect all missiles to uninhabited zones. Let them burn up in empty space. Even after what they did to our people? An officer asked. Yes, Kovalenko said firmly. Because we are not them. We said we would divert the missiles if they returned our people. Commander Srelak kept that promise even if Vexnar did not. We keep ours. The codes were transmitted. One by one, the 50 missiles changed course. Instead of striking Torvin facilities, they dove into distant suns or empty asteroid fields. The kinetic energy dispersed harmlessly into space. The countdown reached 0. But instead of explosions, there was just silence. The galaxy held its breath. Then messages began pouring in. From the Chirathi, from former Torvin colonies, from a dozen species who had lost people to similar disappearances. Thank you, they all said. Thank you for not doing what they did to you. Thank you for being better. But on Earth, in every city, people gathered at memorial sites. 813 had come home. 34 never would. Their names were read aloud one by one. Their families wept, and humanity swore those deaths would mean something. The Torvin hegemony had learned its lesson. Now the galaxy would see what came next. 6 months after the countdown reached 0, the Galactic Council no longer existed. In its place stood the Concordat of Free Worlds, and the chamber where they met looked very different. There were no floating desks arranged in a circle that placed some species higher than others. Instead, simple tables formed a square where everyone could see each other as equals. 53 species sat at those tables. Some were new to space travel. Some had been exploring the stars for thousands of years. All had equal votes. Ambassador Chen Wei sat in the human seat. But now she wore a different title, High Counselor Chen. She had been elected by unanimous vote to lead the Concordat for its first term. Today, the Concordat was voting on the Sovereignty Accords, a new set of laws designed to protect developing species from exploitation. Chen stood to read the final draft. No species shall be subjected to experimentation without consent. No species shall be denied the right to search for their own people in any region of space. No species shall be denied representation in matters that affect their survival. She looked around the chamber. These principles seem obvious to us now. 6 months ago, they were not even discussed. The Shirathi representative chirped her agreement. The Vraxi delegate, new to her position after the previous one was recalled in disgrace, added her support. Even the Torvan representative voted yes. He was Commander Srelak, now promoted to High Commander of what remained of Torvan space. The vote was unanimous. The accords passed. After the session ended, Srelak approached Chen. His scales had turned a lighter shade, a sign of aging among his people. High Counselor, I wanted to thank you personally. Chen studied him. Thank me? For what? For showing mercy when you did not have to. The missiles could have hit their targets. You would have been justified. He looked down. My people did terrible things. We deserved punishment. Some of your people did terrible things, Chen corrected. You stopped them. You chose justice over loyalty to a corrupt leader. That took more courage than firing missiles. Srelak nodded slowly. Many Torvan are ashamed. Our colonies are declaring independence. Our empire is breaking apart. Some say we are finished as a major power. Good, Chen said, and Srelak looked up in surprise. Not because I want your people to suffer, but because empires like yours were the problem. Smaller independent systems governed by their own people. That is better for everyone. She paused. Earth will support Torvan colonies that want help. We will share technology and resources. But the old hegemony, that needed to end. I understand. Srelak offered what humans had taught him was a handshake. Chen took it. Later that evening, Chen visited the Earth Memorial Station in orbit around Luna. 34 pillars of light stretched into space, each one bearing a name. Dr. Sarah McKinley. Engineer James Hsu. Biologist Maria Gonzalez. 34 names that would never be forgotten. Lieutenant Tanaka was there, as she often was. She had physically recovered from her time in the facility. But the mental scars took longer to heal. She visited the memorial every week. Lieutenant, Chen greeted her. High Counselor, Tanaka replied. She looked thinner than she should and tired. But there was strength in her eyes. I was just talking to Sarah, Dr. McKinley. She was in the cell next to mine. They took her for testing one day and she never came back. I am sorry, Chen said softly. They are the reason we are here, you know. Tanaka gestured at the memorial. The 34. If they had not died, maybe Earth would have been less determined. Maybe we would have negotiated differently. She shook her head. I know that sounds terrible, but it is true. Their deaths meant something. Their deaths should never have happened, Chen said firmly. We honor them by making sure nothing like this ever happens again. Tanaka was quiet for a moment. The sovereignty accords, will they actually work? If we enforce them. If we stay vigilant. Chen looked out at the stars. Earth is different now. 6 months ago, we were the newcomers, the species everyone dismissed. Now they call us the galaxy's guardians. Some fear us, some respect us. All of them know we keep our promises. The Ghost Fleet helped with that, Tanaka said with a small smile. The Ghost Fleet had indeed helped. Earth had officially acknowledged the existence of 300 stealth vessels, each one equipped with technology decades ahead of Council standard. The message was clear. Earth had been preparing for this confrontation since first contact. They had hoped for peace but planned for war. Did you really not know where the countdown came from? Tanaka asked suddenly. Chen smiled slightly. What countdown? Right, Tanaka said. She understood. Some secrets stayed secrets. On the other side of the galaxy, in the region that used to be Torvan space, former colonies were building their own governments. Some formed democracies. Others chose councils of elders. A few even requested Earth advisors to help them create constitutions. In one colony, a young Torvan child asked her mother why their city had a human flag flying next to their own. Because they saved us, the mother explained. When our High Counselor was doing bad things, Earth stopped him. Not because they wanted to rule us, but because it was the right thing to do. Are humans good? The child asked. The mother thought about it. Humans can be very dangerous, but they use their strength to protect others. That makes them different from what we used to be. Back on Earth, Captain Reeves sat in a quiet bar in New Tokyo, trying to enjoy a drink. He had resigned from active duty after the rescue mission. The things he had seen in that facility haunted him. The surgical scars on people's bodies, the fear in their eyes, the 34 empty pods that should have carried living passengers. A man sat down next to him at the bar. He was older with gray hair and tired eyes. "Captain Reeves?" "Not anymore," Reeves said. "Just Marcus now." "I am David McKinley," the man said. "Sarah was my wife, Dr. Sarah McKinley." Reeves froze. He knew that name. "One of the 34. I wanted to thank you," David continued, "for trying, for going in there and bringing everyone home that you could." "I am sorry I could not save her," Reeves said quietly. "She was already gone before you arrived," David said. "I read the reports. They killed her during an experiment 2 months before the rescue." He wiped his eyes. "But you saved 813 others. You brought them home to their families. My wife would have wanted that." They sat in silence for a moment. "What do you do now?" David asked. "I work with the Sovereignty Enforcement Division," Reeves said. "We investigate reports of exploitation. Make sure the accords are being followed." He took a drink. "Someone has to watch. To make sure this never happens again." "Good," David said. "That is good." He stood to leave. Marcus. "Thank you. From all the families of the 34. Thank you for not forgetting them." Admiral Kovalenko retired 3 months after the crisis ended. On her last day, she recorded a message for the military archives. "We are often asked if we would do it again. If faced with the same situation, would we threaten to destroy 50 military installations? Would we deploy the Ghost Fleet? Would we risk war with a power much larger than us?" She paused. "The answer is yes. Every single time. Because Earth's greatest strength is not our technology or our weapons. It is our refusal to abandon our own. 847 humans were taken. We got back 813. We failed 34 people, and we will carry that failure forever. But we never stopped trying. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us strong." 10 years later, the galaxy looked very different. Earth had colonies on 200 worlds. The Concordat had grown to include 80 species. Conflicts still happened, but now there were rules, protections, justice. In the Kepler void, where the 9th mission had vanished so long ago, a monument floated in space. It was made of dark metal and glowed with soft light. The inscription read, "They were taken because they were deemed weak. They were returned because humanity proved strong. Never forget, strength without justice is tyranny. Justice without strength is helpless. We are the balance." Below that, 34 names were carved in the metal. And below those names, a promise: we do not forget. We do not forgive. We do not fail twice. In every human city, in every colony, in every ship that traveled the stars, small displays showed a frozen countdown. Yekro bor 0, boy 0 or 1. Always 1 second remaining. Never reaching 0, it was a reminder, a warning, a promise Earth had given its last warning. The galaxy had listened, and humanity made sure they would never need to give another.